one thing we all know, unfortunately, for the excitement of this trade deadline, that the trade of Gio and Ronaldo Lopez to the Angels signified there's no Ohtani trade sweepstakes anymore.
Yeah, they announced about 8 o'clock last night that Ohtani was no longer on the market. That was breaking news. I think Tom Verducci broke that on Twitter. And about 4 hours later, Giolito was traded to the Angels. So it's like, well, I guess that's the end of that. I I think most of the world is kind of dumbfounded by that. Almost a week before the actual trade deadline, they pull him off the trade block where that could have been the most lucrative trade commodity in the history of baseball.
Oh,
He
yeah.
just decided, fuck it, we're going for it. I mean, there's lots of speculation there. They're definitely going for it. They're all in now. I almost think Rick Hahn maybe took advantage of that,
I
as
agree.
clearly the Angels are desperate now. They showed their hand. They are going for it, and then they have to add to that roster somehow, and they definitely need starting pitching. It's always been their Achilles heel. So bravo to Rick Hahn for totally exploiting that situation. I think, as we said, I think the return looks pretty good at this point. So the only thing I can think of from the Angels side of it is for them to suddenly pull them off the trade market and be the first to make a big splash and make this move with Giolito. They must have gotten some assurances or something changed with their conversations with the Ohtani camp. Like I think they may have learned for the first time that he is willing to be there long term after this season. He's willing to
Good
sign a
point.
long-term deal with that, which didn't sound like that was necessarily an option before. But maybe I just don't see how they could make this decision so abruptly and go all in without having some kind of assurance that it's not just going to be for this season alone.
I have another theory, which I text to you earlier. Recently, owner of the Angels, Moreno, has commented about how he despises the Dodgers, how if they trade Ohtani, he wouldn't even consider a trade from the Dodgers, which is hilarious because they have a ton of great prospects. But all that aside, now my I don't know. I agree with you. Probably most likely they did get some assurances. Like Otani's like, if you give me the money, I'm staying, right? Sort of thing. But I also believe like every major pundit was saying that Giolito was on the Dodgers target list. And
Yeah. Oh
I
yeah.
and there I think he's tired of being that second team in that city in that market and wants to try to like turn that around. I could see a guy
Well,
with
that
an
would have.
ego like he has doing something like that.
Yeah, I think that argument's supported by the $400+ million he signed Mike Trout to, and of course getting Ohtani in the first place. And now going all in again. I think that's very plausible. He's got an inferiority complex to the Dodgers, and just has to do everything he can to try to wrest that spotlight away.
Yeah, and this move I read put them over the luxury tax. Not that for billionaires who
Oh, adding
cares.
Giolito?
Yeah, adding Giolito and
Mm,
Lopez put them over the luxury tax. So
I didn't even think about that. That's interesting.
that's the first time in their history they've been over the luxury tax. So it'll be
Something
it'll
tells me
be
he'll be okay.
yeah. Oh yeah, I'm not crying for him by any means, but like it's interesting, and I think he is. I think it's like let's start to wrestle away or attempt to wrestle away some of that share and get the spotlight. So
The
I don't
other
know.
mitigating factor is he was like on the verge of selling the team a couple
I
months ago, I
know.
feel like.
Right, you're
So
right. We talked
something
about that.
something radical has shifted in the mind of Artie Moreno. So I guess we'll see how that pans out. I fear that once again, if this all comes to fruition, that Ohtani does sign with the Angels, I fear that they will continue to flounder.
Yeah, because
as they
they'll
have
fill the
for
seats anyway.
yeah. So they've had the two best players in baseball for all this time and haven't made the playoffs. It's just, again, I call it a baseball tragedy that both those players are mired in that market in a team that chronically underachieves. They're still 4 games back and behind in third place behind the Astros, who are either the first or second wild card, and they're both trailing the Rangers still. So they've got a tough schedule coming up too. So
Yeah, they do.
I'll while we're talking about Ohtani, I mean, he just single-handedly dispatched with the Tigers today in a doubleheader. First
I
game, he
got that
pitched
alert.
a complete game shutout, one hitter, 8 strikeouts. Second game, he just hits 2 home runs, 3 RBI. Just it's unreal. The disturbing thing is in game one, mere hours after we learned that they're going all in on this season, Shohei he was late, kind of late and lazy covering first on a ground out, and had a minor looking collision with Kerry Carpenter, and he dropped the ball and was flexing his arm, and it's like, did he just hurt himself? Like, what the hell just happened? Then in the second game, after his second home run, as he's rounding the bases, he grabbed his lower back and side several times as he was rounding the bases and was pulled from the game. So it's like, did they just go all in only to have the premier piece that they are wagering on? I mean, is he going to have? I mean, you're always worried about injury issues, but less than 24 hours, you see two minor incidents that had to make Artie Moreno throw open his mouth a little bit.
Word Hole Media.